William gave the peace sign. It wasn't planned. It was just a spontaneous thing that occurred.
It wasn't planned?
No.
How many frames did you shoot of that scene?
I think just a couple, just one of him standing in front of the flag, and then he gave the peace sign, and this man walked by. I didn't even see him coming. He just walked by just as it was happening. I was looking through the camera.
Another accident, George. Was the picture used?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't used. We were going for a cover, and we had several...
Move your arm. I want to see if there's any blood on your shirt. I mean, does your heart break when you take good pictures like this and they don't find them used?
Oh, you scared me. I didn't know what you're talking about.
Blood on your shirt?
No, I save them. No, because I save them. One day maybe I'll make a book out of them or something, you know.
Nice picture.
It is a nice picture. Very much. And I have a word or two I'd like to say here, if I may.
Be careful of the blood.
Now, be careful of the blood. What you're looking at is a show called Talk About Pictures, and I'm George Fenneman, and with me is our indefatigable professional photographer,
22-cent words.
freelancer, Leigh Wiener, as you know if you've been watching us. Our guests are, there are two today, right now. One is freelance photographer Henry Diltz, and the other is a young man who's been the singing idol of millions of teenage girls, and I guess not to mention a few teenage men. And me too. David Cassidy. It's nice to have both of you with us. And I like your pictures, Henry.
Thank you,
I've only seen two.
Another accident?
Well, yeah, so it was an accident. Little Amy Burden there eating her porridge, and her mom had washed her teddy bear and was up on the line drawing, and that expression was an accident. I shot maybe 6 or 7 pictures, and suddenly she just made that face.
Henry, are you a picture builder or a picture seer?
More of a seer than a builder, I think. I don't set things up.
Yeah, he's
You take pictures, David. What about you?
Not too much. I used to. For me, I suppose I'm just too much of a novice, but he is one who is, he's truly a photographer because he's like a student of human nature, you know. I mean, he's always watching. He's just a voyeur.
Has he done a good job on you?
No, he's done an awful job. No, I would say, yes, he has. He's also taken thousands and thousands of photographs, but he has gotten...
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
This was an Indian doll. This was taken out in the Monument Valley in Arizona, where John Ford, was it, shot all those John Wayne movies? Yeah. And the Indians live in these hogans out there, and when someone dies, they move away and they leave all their belongings, including old shoes and old clothes and old baby dolls, just laying around on the ground. And this was laying there on the ground.
That's David, you said, and an interesting comment, you said that's bizarre. I tend to agree with you. Why do you think so?
Well, I mean, if I can see it from this side, Henry's really a sadist, I think, at heart, and I think it really exemplifies that.
He's a sadist, Henry. Well, you're being a sadist there.
Hey.
There's me being a masochist.
Right, now where was that? Probably Australia, I think.
No, I think it's Japan.
Was this on the tour?
Yeah, it was the last tour that we...
What is this in the foreground here?
Flowers.
Flowers?
Yeah.
How did you two guys meet?
About, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, he came out when we were shooting the television show, The Partridge Family, I think right a couple of blocks away from here. And he came out one day to shoot while another photographer who was out on the set for a magazine was sick. And old
happens that way, doesn't it?
Mad Tad came out. And Tad is an endearing term.
And you've been friends ever
temperamental
since?
photographers. Yeah, slowly but surely he came and started shooting for other magazines, and we just became friends, and I guess and eventually he came on tour with me a couple of times.
And you were telling me that you just came off a tour?
Not too long ago,
4 months or so?
Yeah, we did a world tour, yes.
David, tell me something. When you tour like this, in this picture and the preceding picture, where you have a lot of emotion going on, do you feel photographers, the presence of photographers like Henry and other maybe freelancers or even the paparazzi, do they help the scene for you?
No, not in a situation like there. I think I'm really basically oblivious to all of that in a scene like that. Daytime is really... it's a bad time to play, although it's a great time for photographers like Henry to shoot, because you can really see what's going on there.
Do photographers help spark the emotion which they get all churned
on stage? Occasionally, yeah. Sometimes, like when you do it indoors in a big auditorium at night when the lighting is really dark.
Like so.
Like so.
It's New Zealand, I think, yeah.
Often when I would come out on stage or something, there would be a flurry of Instamatics, you know.
Flash
Right, right.
Which do absolutely no good at all from where they're sitting.
Right.
Do
Well,
they?
from where they're sitting, no. They get heads
but
and
they help the
arms and
excitement,
things.
don't they?
Oh, but
That
when you
does,
come
yeah.
out, the image it creates, it's like a strobe kind of, you know. It's really interesting. It is, yeah.
But in David's shows, there's so much going on that a couple of photographers don't really make that much difference. I don't think, you know.
You really
By choice, would you like to shoot tours like the one you were in with David?
I like to, yeah, because I like to travel and see new places.
And eat pie?
Right.
That's when I, yeah.
Who is that?
Well, that's one of his background singers. His birthday was just that day.
How nice of you.
David, did you tell Henry, that's a very good action picture, did you tell Henry to count of 3, get ready, I'm going to do it?
No, I didn't at all. I didn't at all, but I think
someone did.
I told his wife, I think, Kim,
she must
who
have
was
loved
standing
it.
next to me. I said, look, when I come over the pie, he's going to say, I know he's going to do it, and I'm going to make it so obvious. I'm not going to do it, but I am going to do it. And they all stepped back, and he was standing there, and he was going, yeah, right, he's going to throw the pie at me, everybody thinks, right. And I went, you know.
Was it used?
I don't think this was used in anything. We might use it in a book.
I think it was done in a picture story at one time.
God, save the book, huh? All good pictures.
I hope this goes in the book. Yeah, there are a couple of moments.
Would you put this in the book, Henry? Let me ask Henry. Would you put that picture in the book?
Oh, yeah.
You know who shot that?
Yeah, he shot it. David
Phil Oakes shot it. No.
This is a self-portrait by David.
It's the only one, yeah. I used to be kind of and I say used to be, all my camera equipment was stolen at one point, and it sort of put a dampener on my, I don't know, enthusiasm. But this was taken, I guess, about 4 years ago, and it was in a house I was living in, and I on every roll, tried to get one self-portrait. You know, I would take pictures of everybody around, and like on every roll, no matter where I was shooting what I was doing, I sort of tried to put myself in that. And this is a couple of shots.
That is a good picture. It's a very good picture. What kind of camera and lens did you use on it?
It was a Nikon, and I think it was,
millimeter.
actually, I think it was a 28 millimeter, yeah.
Good. You know what impresses me is how you got that nice, wonderful dog.
Yeah.
He was really a ham, and
he was listening to the buzzing, wasn't he? The self-timer.
What I liked about it is that I sort of tried to get myself around. There's a little statue of
Chaplin, right?
Statue of Chaplin.
Very nice.
Yeah. I don't know, it's difficult to do.
That's a good picture. It really is.
Thank you.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, that's
That's from a love-in, an Easter love-in, I believe, in '66.
That is great.
Yeah,
that is so great.
Henry, I want to ask you something. As an ex-West Pointer.
An ex-what?
He's very sensitive about this.
West Pointer? You mean like...
He was in West Point.
Where the Army...
No, the Army team. What do you think of... when you shot that photograph there, I mean, coming out of West Point, you had one set of...
well, let's say this guy didn't salute.
Right, he wouldn't have passed inspection. I didn't really think about West Point at the time. I went there for a year, and that was some time ago.
Did this? I don't mean to pry, but I shall pry because I think it's important. Did possibly the same reasons you left West Point have to do with maybe getting into this type of photography, of shooting what's happening now? West Point being a rather conservative organization.
Yeah. Well, I majored in psychology for 2 years before I went to West Point. And so I was more interested in life than than what was happening in West Point. I found out quickly enough, and that's why I left, you know.
Do you think we would... Excuse me.
I just want to find when you started taking pictures.
About six or 8 years ago.
That's all.
Yeah, and it was, 15 years ago that I was at West Point. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you think West Point maybe ought to offer a course in photography?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, you know, whether you like this picture, and I happen to like it, this recorded an era of America.
Yeah, it really, it's specifically Southern California, too.
Oh, is that peculiar to Southern California,
I think
David?
so. I think Love-Ins and all the Haight-Ashbury kind of thing, I think it really exemplified Southern California.
The West or California, the Western part.
To me, at least, it did. I'm sure it was going on.
Well, look at this.
But it was,
this was taken the same day.
Yeah.
This is Carl Franzoni.
Maybe we can put that the same, maybe they can get the same, both pictures on.
He doesn't need makeup.
That's so
were they both trying to portray the same feel? One used makeup, one did not?
I don't. This is when they were smoking banana peels. Remember that year?
Yeah. 66, 67, right in there.
They proved it had no effect at all.
That's right, yeah.
That's right.
The flower children.
But they thought it did, which was important, George. They thought it had an effect.
It was a whole feeling this day. I wasn't conscious of this being an important event or anything. I was just there taking pictures of people, and
David, would you include a man or a face like that on one of your tours? Do you think it would help you or hurt you?
A face like that?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose it'd be a little ridiculous for me to come out on stage with something like that. Is that what you mean?
He wore a clown mask in one number.
In one number I did, yeah. I'm a clown anyway. But
well, you know what's very interesting? I mean, this man uses his imagination with his face. This picture which you shot, I think is swell. Look how another group of people use their imagination.
Yeah. Was that a mirror?
This is a mirror.
Oh, and the moon is...
The moon is coming up over here, and the sun is setting over there.
You remember that, Kate Smith?
This is a group, a singing group called America.
Mr. Collins.
America, yeah.
That's good.
And isn't that nice?
That's nice.
Very
that's
imaginative.
nice.
Good group, too.
This was used on an album cover, and we went out to an oasis near Palm Springs, and we spent a couple days out there in the desert, rode horses out in the desert, and we carried this mirror out with us on horseback. And
horse with no name.
Henry, David said that's a good group.
Oh, yeah. That was their, that was their...
The horse with no name.
Horse with no name, right,
When a group makes good music, do they generally have good ideas to how they want to be portrayed photographically or graphically?
No.
Is there a relation?
Let me answer that for you.
Yeah.
Why? What do you say that?
Well, he's told me a million times. Everybody, you know, they're... go ahead and tell him, Henry. I mean, you've done it so many times.
If you know the answer.
No, seriously, I'd like to hear both your answers.
I've forgotten the question.
Most people that are doing it, pop stars, I suppose, in general, are sort of trying to portray the role of someone who is aloof, kind of almost emotionless, you know? And so it's like when you get 4 or 5 individuals, egos, personalities together, these 3 guys happen to be kind of tight, and I would imagine are probably easier than most, but most of them, it's difficult to get them all in so it looks in a frame, let alone you know, all smiling or all looking
good. Would you buy that?
Well, you know, some groups or some artists, like Neil Young in particular, I can think of. I mean, he's very creative, you know, and he's interested in movies and pictures, and he has definite ideas. Other groups, they say, well, we don't even want to pose for our cover.
Too hung up, just take it.
They just say, yeah, we'll just be here, you know.
You know, that's interesting. Johnny Cash, I did a lot of covers for Cash, and Cash had great ideas of how he wanted to be portrayed on his cover, ride this train and other things.
But they were good ideas.
Yeah, his ideas, and they were very good. They fit. They seemed to fit to his music.
What usually happens is they have some germ of an idea, and we just shoot a lot of pictures and then have a slideshow, and they pick, you know, what they like. It's not always their idea.
I like that picture.
I like that very, very much. That's a nice picture.
Oh, it's a great
picture.
Did he have good ideas graphically?
Well, yeah, I spent just one afternoon with them taking pictures for a songbook, and yeah, we were eating lunch at this point here in the backyard in Malibu. And this is little Mary McCartney.
I can't tell from him, I can't tell from her, but I sure will buy it.
Somebody was having lunch anyway.
Yeah.
That's a good picture.
Easy people to work with?
Very easy to work with, yeah. We were just shooting pictures for a songbook, and they just sat around the pool and played music and just, you know, went swimming, and I just shot pictures of whatever.
Comment on that, George.
Oh, that's delightful.
This is Mama Cass.
Yeah.
Well, this was a picture that we had planned. I work with a graphic artist who's my partner, Gary Burden, and we went to some trouble to set this up. And Gary borrowed these rugs and pillows from a museum. We stopped by the supermarket and bought these grapes and peaches and onions. I have to believe
she liked it.
Yes, she did. She loved it. Yeah.
You know, what was it used for?
Well, it was supposed to be an album cover, and it ended up being used as a billboard when she played in Las Vegas on Sunset Strip. There was a billboard just of this.
That must be quite a shot, huh? When you come up on your picture, greater than life size.
It kind of made 2 by 3s. Henry, did you ever work with her, David?
No, I never have worked with her. That picture is so great. I mean, I often would see photographs that Henry would take, and I'd look at them and say, I really want you to take a photograph of me like that. You know, I want to see myself. I mean,
Henry,
I see myself.
Excuse me. That's interesting. Good. Let's ask that question. You saw her this way. Your partner did. How would you, to fulfill David's desire, how would you photograph David Cassidy?
Well, I shoot pictures of him a lot in concert and on the TV set. They're more candid.
Well, if you were structuring it like you structured this picture, how would you do it?
I'd take pictures of David a lot with his animals, with his horses and his dogs, and
that's very good.
That's David that way.
It's a very touchy subject. So we, that's a good answer.
That's a nice.
This is
that happens to be Mama Cass. That could be any mother, couldn't it?
This is her little daughter Owen's 3rd birthday party, and. It's funny, sitting next to her over here that you can't see is her manager's little girl, who was very distressed that little Owen had gotten her dress dirty, you know, had gotten chocolate ice cream on her dress there. She said, we don't get our party
So is Mama Cass.
Yeah.
So is Mama Cass a little distressed. This is nice. Also with Mama Cass.
Yeah, the mamas and papas,
Yeah, that's nice.
It's funny, this picture was taken let me see, just for a publicity picture, and they used it for an album cover. I didn't even know they were going to. I suddenly saw it on the stands. There it was, as an album cover.
David, speaking of album covers, do you think many people buy albums based on a photograph?
I think it can help a sale, yeah. I think they've done surveys and so forth. In a rack, sometimes, if you've got something that's really striking, that a record buyer's got $4 in his pocket or whatever it is cost to buy an album, they walk in and they see a particular album that really is striking.
Right.
I suppose a lot has to do with the artist as well, but if it's an artist like the Mamas and Papas, for instance, something like that, I would imagine something that, to me, I mean, if I walk by an album, a rack in a store, something like that would grab me.
Well, let's talk about you when you had the enormous following. I mean, in earlier years.
Well, he still has an enormous...
No, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 4 or 5 years ago when you were in the show.
On the ladder up.
Did many people...
I got what you mean.
Do you think many of your kids, many of your fans bought on impulse, or do you think they went into the store and said, hey, give me David Cassidy?
Well, let me say this. Let me take this opportunity to say I think I had perhaps the most tasteless album covers that were ever designed.
Really?
Yes. I had no control over them at all. As a matter of fact, I mean, I kept apologizing for them, which is probably worse. But they sold. I mean, the worse the cover was, the more the album would sell.
Who had control, David?
Silly.
I hate to hear that.
Who had control?
It was done through the record company that I was once with. I just recently have gotten
Kind
out
of
of.
sad, really.
Some record companies like
dissolved,
that.
yeah. So I'm not.
Speaking of taste, was that an album cover?
No, that wasn't. No.
Is it on the air?
That's such a great show.
That's a remarkable picture.
That's Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees.
Yeah.
This particular day, they were filming a Kool-Aid commercial, and Mickey was playing the gypsy fortune teller.
And he'd been drinking the
Look
product.
at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
It's a wild idea for an album cover.
Can you get sued for that?
We almost got sued for
I
that.
wondered.
Yeah. In fact,
they're fairly straight-laced, the National Geographic folks. Was it Grosvenor?
I think so.
Now this is drawn. It's not lifted from the magazine. You can see that it's Rick Griffin
Henry,
did this illustration.
you're teasing me.
What?
Did they try to stop that?
National Geographic called the record company and said, we intend to sue you if you continue using that. And so for the second printing, they had to change it.
Was this your idea or Pryor's idea? Or someone else's?
Combination of everybody's idea. We went to Richard's house that morning, and he was in bed, and he said, come on, and his wife said, well, go in the bedroom and talk to him. He doesn't want to get up. And so we went in, and he said, why don't you take the cover while I'm here lying in bed? And so we had to talk him out of, get him out of bed.
That wasn't a bad idea, though.
And then he said, I'd like to do something sort of like an Aborigine kind of thing, back to roots kind of thing. And we went to a little antique store, and these are authentic Aborigine devices here. That same day
I think I'd buy that on impulse if I saw that.
Yeah, it's great.
You know what? This was shot in Beverly Hills, just up in the canyon.
Beverly Hills is moving up again. Henry, periodically Beverly Hills makes inroads.
Neanderthal man.
That's funny.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
This is Mick Jagger and his wife Bianca some years before they were married. This was shot in, I think, the Netherlands, and
she looks like an awfully nice person. Was she?
I didn't talk to her, That's the only time our eyes met was just that moment through the camera there.
Was it like a grab shot or?
Yeah, I was kneeling down trying to hide behind the bottles there. I didn't want to get in anybody's way, and she looked right at me and smiled.
George,
so I took the
grab
picture.
shot indicates we ought to ask him what kind of cameras he likes to use.
I use Nikons.
You do?
Yeah, I do. 35 millimeter.
A Nikon?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Actually,
see, that's got nice.
Yeah,
nice,
Richard Harris.
That's a nice print. The depth is great.
Yeah. Now this was the first day I met Richard Harris. I did two of his covers, 3 of his album covers actually. This was the first one. We went to the bungalows there at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and he was in one of them. And as often happens, we were there to take the cover, and he wasn't ready, and he didn't want to do it. And we finally said, well, step outside for a couple minutes. Let's just shoot a few pictures. And this was right outside the door of the bungalow. He stood there, and we clicked off a roll.
He's really animated.
He's got a great face. He's got a great face.
But you say it's a nice print. I must picture it. That's an art print, George. That's a machine print. You're right, but the techniques are moving ahead so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has a good feel of the
Beautiful
depth
feel.
and.
Yeah.
Speaking of good feel, not necessarily print-wise, a good print. It's a nice picture.
This is Terry Kirkman from the Association. Oftentimes when a group does a concert, you know, they stick them in the locker rooms as a dressing room to warm up.
Right?
Yeah. It's usually the case.
You're bitter. Young man, you're bitter.
Yeah. So this was in the shower there.
What does he do? Does that give him a sound that he's looking for? Is that
great
sound.
The
reverberation in the tile?
Yeah, it's
it's a great photo.
It's great too.
It's too bad he didn't have all black on.
You say that? Yeah, it's too bad life was. That's a life type of photograph.
Yeah.
That's another one.
This is Humble Harv at the beach.
Is that Humble Harv?
Humble Harv, the KHJ disc jockey. Well, a couple of times I shot pictures of all the disc jockeys just for publicity use, and this one time we went to some elaborate extent and got costumes and all. And
I never saw that.
The beach.
That's good.
That's an interesting picture.
This is James Taylor. I love taking pictures of trucks because the way they frame up, they more or less just fit the frame, you know, the format. And
I'm curious again if I can go back to your West Point. Did you take pictures when you went to West Point?
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't start until
some years after that. Yeah.
You have a very nice eye.
You sure do.
That's a good proof of it. That's awfully nice.
Well, I collect pictures. I collect series, you know, pictures of trucks, like I said, and
like
farm
equipment?
machinery. Yeah, I love farm equipment, the orange and yellow tractors and all.
Oh my God.
That was just a lucky moment.
You know, you'd almost, I hate to say this to you, you almost can't take a bad picture of a sunset.
Yeah.
Because no matter what the exposure is, who knew what time the sun was or where it was.
That's true. This was out at Malibu, and I was just, I think I was taking pictures of Jon Stewart on the beach, and I turned around and shot this, and this fellow was standing on the rocks, and then he jumped in the water there.
And look at this.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't it?